It's important that our beliefs be aligned with the truth. Why is it important? Well, while we have a great degree of freedom of what we believe in, there are things that we can believe in that are not verifiable to be the truth. Like, is there a God? Is there not a God? And what happens after the event horizon? These are things that we can imagine, have conjectures about, but we can't verify them, right? So these are perfectly valid beliefs about what happens in the afterlife or whatever, right? We have no way of knowing. But there are things that we believe that are kind of provable. Is it true or not, right? So, for example, flat Earth theory, right? Very easily provable by science. And so these reality based truths and you believing in something else. Why is this bad? Of course, we don't really think about this because it seems so obvious, but why is it bad? Well, it tends to be bad because when we have beliefs, right, regardless of what belief it is, we tend to make actions based on that belief. We tend to make decisions based on that belief. So, if I think I am the best man in the world and I can do no wrong, I am going to make a lot of decisions based on confidence. So I am going to go into investing. And then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to kind of recklessly go because I believe that there's no way I can mess up in this investment. But in reality, investment can backfire on anyone, not just me, anyone, right? So, because of my belief that was not aligned with the truth. I thought I was the best man who can never do wrong, but in reality, depending on the social context and cultural context, I can do a lot of wrong, right? So that made me do a decision that is not based on reality. Another thing, think about, when you buy a car. Suppose I buy a car, but I didn't know that I had to register my car every year. And other people told me, Billy, did you register your car? You gotta register your car. And then I say, oh no, man, that's just something that the salespeople say to get commission. So suppose I have this belief, and I don't have insurance because again, that's something some salesman tried to make money out of. And then I get pulled over or I get into an accident. What's gonna happen? Because my belief was not based in reality, I am going to suffer the consequences, right? Because when you have a car, turns out in order to drive it, you need to have insurance and you need the car registered, right? So this kind of this example was a more realistic one, but think of all the beliefs that you have about yourself. I'm a procrastinator and I just don't have what it takes. I'm I'm not a, person who can do that kind of a thing. So these are all what we call limiting beliefs, but they aren't grounded on the truth because there is nothing about a human being that defines their potential, that defines what they can actually do with their lives, right? But again, just like how we can have prejudices against other people because of racism, ageism, sexism, or whatever, we can have those biases against ourselves. And then imagine, like, you thought that there was some money you were owed because of a class action lawsuit, and then you thought it didn't apply to you, but you actually did in real life, but you just didn't think it was. And then your friends are like, "Oh, did you get $1,000?" And you're like, "What $1,000?" And then you just happened to be evicted last week because you couldn't pay rent. That $1,000 would have come in a lot of handy, right? So, because of our misconception about the truth, we are going to miss out on a lot of things. Because of our misconception on the truth, we are going to make a lot of future decisions that can cause us a lot of suffering. So, when we have wrong beliefs about ourselves, we are going to significantly limit and hinder our lives. And that, I think, is a very critical part of suffering.